Welcome to Not Sauce for Work on the Hot Sauce Sports Podcast Network. Joining me today is my co-host, Terry Tam, and producer, Eagle at Master Control. Join us as we talk about the differences in leadership in pro sports. One coach takes a stand while the Blackhawks and Washington football team franchises are protected from the fall. We get our favorite Halloween movies and the World Series coming up next on Not Sauce for Work. Welcome, everyone. You are watching and perhaps listening to Not Sauce for Work. That's the name of the show. In studio for the first time together in like at least a year is me and Terry Tan.
I was just about to say, you sound like these headphones do absolutely nothing.
It just popped. I think it might be working. Oh, no, it's gone now. It's back. It's I don't know what to do. It's popping in and out.
And nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. I was about to say, you did your intro. You sounded so like sexual. And then when you're looking at me,
yeah,
you're doing the intro, you kind of lost yourself.
I know, because I turned myself on, and then you took me next level.
Yeah, exactly.
So
what's after on? Are you like back off?
I turned up, on and up. Onwards and upwards.
Onwards and upwards.
There we go. I'm turned onwards and I am turned upwards. It is Halloween week. It is a week that is pretty cool if you have kids. And if you don't have kids, it's fucking awesome. My wife and I have a tradition where we partake in vices and watch a whole bunch of horror movies and Halloween movies.
Oh, that's a good tradition.
Yeah. And because we put out candy once and no kids came around our area because we live in a really small street.
Yeah.
You have to know that house exists to
to
go there, basically.
It's true. Every time I come to your place, there's like 3 of those.
Yeah.
I'm always like, is it always this far down? Did it just pop and
the house didn't move, no. If that's your question, the house did not move.
No. I'm saying, did this just pop?
It just popped again, yeah.
Now you can hear it?
I can hear it very clearly, and I had to decrease the volume.
Let's test it out. No, it doesn't work for me.
Really? Oh, that's a shame.
It might be my wires.
It might be. We need to replace this. I know we keep saying it.
You got your wires twisted.
Yeah. So after the
Cross swords.
After the first year in that house, we're like, well, we just ended up eating the candy ourselves. So why don't we do that on purpose and watch a whole bunch of movies?
I mean, that's what I do.
Sorry?
That's what I do.
Yeah, I know you do that.
You do that on a Tuesday in May.
Yeah. One of the things I realized is my wife and I have very different movie tastes. Because of we have somewhat of an age difference, and there's a lot of movies she hasn't seen. So the movies I'm suggesting this year are the original Halloween, John Carpenter's Halloween.
Probably the best of the Halloweens.
What's cool is
this one, the recent one, is the best one.
No, the OG
original
one.
The original one.
The Rob Zombie remake is actually really good.
I heard that was good too. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. And too many of the Halloweens, I've seen I think 4 of them.
Yeah.
Like I've seen H2O. I saw the original one, which was really good. But I don't have any interest in this. But I saw this video, and oh man. I saw this video. It was probably the funniest video I've ever seen in my life.
I think I've seen the same one. Tell me.
It's about the guy who's pretending to be Mike Myers, but he's like famous.
No, it wasn't it.
Oh, it's probably the funniest video I've ever seen in my life. So he's pretending that he's famous and he's talking shit. I'm not gonna do it justice. I'm just gonna post it and we're gonna talk about it next time.
That'd be great. Also, I saw someone posted a 6-minute video of a horror movie written entirely by bots. Of which my 2 favorite lines in the movie are, all Jennifers have bodies, and his aim was alcohol.
His aim was alcohol?
It was alcohol. Yeah.
It doesn't have to make sense.
It's written by bots, so it's...
all Jennifers have bodies?
All Jennifers have bodies.
Is that like an all lives Black Lives Matter
no,
thing?
no, it's
Speaking of
'cause
which,
it's
there was
collecting.
like a controversy in the latest Halloween Kills movie. Apparently, Michael Myers is homophobic
Yeah.
because he kills some of the gay characters in the movie.
I
and I'm
think-
like, but he didn't kill them because they're gay.
Yeah.
He just killed them because he's a serial killer.
Because he's
Yeah.
Michael fucking Myers.
also like it doesn't glorify the killing. He's the bad guy.
yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah.
It's the same thing about how like the firefighters of America got upset that like he murders a whole bunch of firefighters in the opening scene or whatever.
Do they
And
get
it's
mad?
like,
Do they get mad at movies where there's fire? Because fire is usually the bad guy. Also,
How many fucking completely lost my train of thought.
how many fucking
Holy shit.
five of them.
5 what?
5 fucking. In case you're wondering, I'm also gonna suggest watching The Shining, because
Yeah.
my wife
I
has
prefer
never
The
seen
Shining.
it. The Shining of The Simpsons, and I had another one, of course, but I no longer can remember.
I was gonna say how many.
Do you guys have any favorites?
I
How
think
many?
all-
How many fucking?
How many straight people has Mike Myers killed? How many white people has Mike
yeah,
Myers
but he's not
killed?
discriminating against them
Exactly.
because
he's
they're
just killing
like,
everybody. Motherfucker's crazy, man.
That's the point.
So yeah, my favorite horror movie to watch.
Yeah, horror movie or Halloween movie, because my wife
I
likes
like-
Casper and that kind of
I
stuff.
love the Rob Zombie stuff. I love House of a Thousand Rejects.
Excellent.
I love Devil's Rejects. I watched one recently. Actually, it was pretty good. The Invisible Man. I don't know if you saw it. It's on Crave.
kind
the recent one or the original one?
It's
Wait, the recent one?
the
Yeah.
most
oh, no,
recent
I was
one
thinking
with-
Hollow Man. Hollow Man was
oh,
yeah,
Hollow Man. I remember that.
It
one.
kind
What
of
is that?
glorified rape. It was really
Yes,
bizarre.
yeah, that
It
was a
really
fucked
bizarre.
up one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Invisible Man, it's a really good movie. I watched it with my girlfriend. It's it's a girl who escapes living with her boyfriend, but like he keeps her in his house, like on a cliff. She can't do anything. He controls her basically. So she escapes, then he kills himself, but then she's being haunted, and then there's this whole plot that she knows it's him. It's him. He's the Invisible Man, and then it leads from there. It's actually pretty fucked up.
I like some of the classics as a kid. So Hocus Pocus is still one of
That's
like
again, my wife likes that kind of
it's
stuff.
a good
so.
one.
I mean, I like some of the other ones too in terms of like okay, like the flashers and the thrillers, but like Hocus Pocus is just so good, right? And also it's like Sarah Jessica Parker, Bette Midler.
Yeah, it's true.
It's like the acting is actually incredible.
It's a very
considering
good
it's
movie,
exactly,
yeah,
it's a very
yeah.
good
Yeah.
movie considering what it is.
I used to have it on VHS, man. My family and I used to watch it all the time growing up. I love that movie.
But yeah, I'm not super into like the whole like. So I don't like horror movies because either the cast of character does exactly what you're not supposed to do in the
Yeah.
moment, in
Yeah.
which case it's not believable, or they do exactly what you're supposed to do, in which case you're terrified in real life.
Right.
I like the suspense movies more than the gore ones. Like the Saw movies, it's not really my cup of tea.
I mean, I like Saw. I like the
I
first
like
one.
the first one,
Yeah,
and then by the next one, I was like,
The
this
first
is
one
the
has a
same.
thriller aspect, right? It's
Yeah.
like, what the
Exactly,
fuck
yeah.
is going
Exactly,
on?
yeah.
Versus, oh, let's play games. Ha ha ha, you're dead.
Yeah, exactly. I like it. It always creeped me out. Like the last one was a little weird, but like the original one was like when I remember growing up as a kid, I was scared of it.
Pet Cemetery did it for me. Pet Cemetery did. it
Never
for me.
saw Pet Cemetery. People give me shit because I haven't seen Pet Cemetery. I haven't seen not Amazeballs, Spaceballs.
You need to watch Spaceballs.
Yeah.
Of all people to not have watched.
I know
Spaceballs.
everybody says that you should. How come you can't see Spaceballs? Like there's a few.
You're
movies
the
that-
most Spaceballs person I've ever met.
Really?
Yeah.
Fucking Spaceballs, man. Okay, I gotta watch it. I saw a guy wearing a Spaceballs hat and a Spaceballs mask the other day.
Nice.
I was like, are they filming again? What's
No,
going on?
they haven't. Although Mel Brooks always wanted to make a sequel called "The Search for More Money,"
Oh,
which I thought was a brilliant title
Okay,
for a
okay.
sequel.
I gotta get on Spaceballs. Eagle, what streaming service do I need?
All of them.
I mean, I do have a lot of them already. Yeah, I was thinking about it the other day. It's like, okay, I'm paying this amount of months for my cable to have sports, right? But then I have DAZN where I watch all my football anyway. Then I have the sports. Well, I guess Sportsnet and TSN is linked through my TV, so I have to keep that. Then I have Netflix, Crave, Prime, fucking
You want to start sharing accounts?
Jesus,
Because
man.
I'm also paying way too much in streaming services.
It makes no fucking sense.
Spaceballs is on Amazon Prime Video if you have AMC Plus.
so it's a
So it's a premium
yeah.
subscription, not the regular subscription, or you can rent it on Apple.
I
TV
think
for
I might
$4.99.
have it on DVD.
I have it on DVD too, actually.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's figure it out.
Yeah, the last movie that I had suggested for the list tomorrow, we'll see if my wife agrees to it, is Seven, because she's never seen it. So I always
7.
like Seven. I thought it was a great
What's
movie.
in the box?
Oh,
What's in the box?
13 Ghosts. That movie creeped me out.
Yeah,
That was
definitely.
a good one.
Yeah.
That was a fucking good
Oh,
one.
what creeped me out? This is gonna sound stupid. Nightmare
no,
Before Christmas.
Oh yeah,
No,
before
no.
Christmas. Yeah.
I couldn't watch that as a kid. I didn't like it.
Really?
It was just I just couldn't.
It is creepy to look at as a kid. You're like, what's going on? Why are their bodies like that? Like Beetlejuice, kind of the same thing. Creep me
It's
out.
just okay though. It's
Yeah.
like right in that middle ground
It's
of
a
like
funny
okay,
movie.
ha ha ha. It's funny, but also kind of like really.
It
funny.
is.
Like,
It
what's
is
going
bizarre.
on?
It is.
Yeah.
Versus Night Before Christmas is like, why?
Yeah.
Why did you kill Santa?
What did he do, really?
He did things that were less heinous than, unfortunately, a lot of things we're going to talk about during
Wow,
this show.
what a segue.
So let's get to it. It's time for the news. Terry's the news. Thank
Thanks,
you for
man.
doing it last week. It made me feel included in the show.
Why?
Because I listened.
Oh, because
to
I
it.
did
You
that.
did it to yourself.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to say Terry too because it doesn't really.
It doesn't work the other way.
It doesn't continue. Like we need to continue.
Yeah.
Needs to be every single time.
Continuity, baby.
Yeah.
Continuity. So there is no segue this week because it's
How
we
do you
don't-
segue into this?
we don't decide the news, right? Like we react to the things that are happening. And some weeks it's just awesomely funny shit, and we have a lot of that. So there's going to be a balance, but there's going to be some things that what I like about what we do sometimes is a lot of sports media has sort of overreactionary, like one side or the other, and we tend to have sort of these nuanced conversations about a lot of these topics, and so it allows us that opportunity to sort of flex that muscle because again, we don't have bosses. We can approach it the way we like, right?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, we say that. Is there really any nuance in this topic here?
no. Well,
I mean,
I'll put it this way.
with certain aspects of it. Yeah.
So the thing is, there's a constant theme running through this episode. The theme is leadership, and the lack thereof in some cases, and the places where it should be that we're not seeing it happen, and then in some cases, people acting like leaders in times that we're not expecting them to. So the place we're going to start is with the NFL's investigation. Last week, you guys talked about it. You and Duke, by the way, thank you, Duke, for filling in. Roger Goodell said, well, let's actually listen to his words and then we'll react to them because he can do this much better than I can. Be a dick.
And so we're very conscious of making sure that we're protecting those that came forward. They were incredibly brave, incredibly open, and we respect the pain that they probably went through all over again to come forward. And so that was a very high priority for us. The second would be, our focus, and our focus remains, is to make sure that all our clubs operate at the highest levels as far as our workforce and workplace, and making sure that we set the highest standards. We actually spent some time talking about that today, and we'll continue those discussions going forward because it's an important thing for us. That is part of what we focused on as it relates to it, and hopefully it answers your question.
So
Did he say anything?
what he said was ostensibly that they're not going to release the report of the findings of the Washington football team
course,
to
'cause his name's all
protect
over it.
the women.
No, but so these women also came out after this,
Mm-hmm.
and they said, no, we wanted our names to be on this.
Yeah.
We were advised to
You
not
can
put
also
our names on.
redact the names.
Yeah.
You can do that.
Yeah.
But it's like,
But
well,
you can't redact when it's the name is Roger Goodell.
well, I'm saying no, but I'm saying that you can redact the accusers, right? Like if this is about
I know. That's what
protecting
I'm
them,
saying is you can redact them,
yeah,
but you can't redact the names that are guilty
Yeah.
in this situation, which is most likely Roger Goodell, Bruce Allen. Throw in fucking
Well,
Jerry Jones in there.
Dan Snyder for sure.
100%.
It's your team. It's your
Mr.
responsibility.
Snyder.
Mr. Snyder.
He doesn't
Okay.
like Dan.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Watch the football. Watch the Redskins go fuck yourself.
It's funny that he says that he doesn't like what people call him. Names are important
Yeah.
to Daniel Snyder
Yeah.
apparently. But so
What a loser.
the Wall Street Journal talked about stuff where like cheerleaders weren't allowed to look at Daniel Snyder in the face when they walked by him.
As to not tempt him.
I don't know. It just like imagine a work environment where your boss tells you, "Look, you can't look at me." Like it's
That
weird.
when I saw Dan Snyder for the first time, I remember he was like one of the youngest owners at the time, right? When he took over.
150 odd years ago. No, I know. Yes.
No, but like like now I don't know how old he is, but like he was like
Yeah.
40 years old when he bought the team.
He's in his. He must be in like either late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah,
by
so
now,
which makes it So and I remember like when he like I see him, I'm like, oh, he's a young guy or whatever. I mean, but he kind of looks like a weasel. Like he looks like a guy who enjoys a power trip because when he was younger he was probably bullied, and he enjoys a power trip now, and he uses his money and his name to do that. I like it's the first thing that I thought of when I saw Dan Snyder, and it's crazy. That's exactly what he's become.
So the thing is, we know that John Gruden and Bruce Allen were exchanging pictures of cheerleaders, right? We know that came out in the Gruden report.
Where's Jay Gruden in all this? Because we've seen Jay Gruden do some crazy shit on video.
Yeah.
He's
So I
hiding.
would love to know what shit he said.
And that's what I'm saying. Like his
in
brother
there.
was involved and he wasn't. Like,
Yeah.
That's the whole reason John Gruden was emailing the team and
Yeah.
had such a close relationship is because Jay Gruden was.
That's
the
what I'm
head
saying.
coach.
Jay Gruden's name hasn't come out in any of this.
Yeah,
I'm like,
this-
unless he deleted all his emails, like he did it the right way.
Well, the right way. Or maybe he used a personal device.
Oh, probably.
You know, but to me it's incredulous that nothing else made itself available there, and it's ridiculous. It's not gonna be. I think at some point they're going to be forced to turn over
Everything.
the findings. If not, there will be a separate investigation. Eagle, you keep saying that you think Goodell is the leak because of what they called Goodell, but Goodell works for the owners. So
Yeah.
to me, the leak has to be the Redskins, and it's just to distract from the initial case, right? And it's also no accident that on the same weekend that the John Gruden stuff came out, they had a Sean Taylor memorial that was panned by fans because it looked like it was so half-assed.
It's a market.
And Dan Snyder wore
Didn't-
a hoodie to the Sean Taylor memorial.
But didn't they like they promoted, like you never hear about, like when the Cowboys do announcements, I follow the Cowboys everywhere. Montreal Canadiens too. I follow them
Canadians,
everywhere.
yeah, agreed.
Everywhere. And I never
Follow your favorite team because
Yeah.
you're a fan.
yeah, exactly. I never see them promote when they're gonna remember somebody. They're gonna have a ceremony for somebody. Never.
It's usually like a
Never.
treat for the people that show up.
Yeah, not even on season tickets or anything, unless it's like something like, I don't know, something special that we know is
Or
gonna
like
happen.
like
a
for
year
example,
from
like
now.
the when the Heat were dedicating like Wade Way and they changed the
Yeah,
street name.
yeah, that's different.
And they raised his jersey in the banner. Like that's a specific, very specific.
But like for Koivu,
you know.
for Saku Koivu, they didn't really do anything. When I went to the Koivu, when Koivu came back here,
Mhm.
and they didn't really do anything before that. Like,
Yeah.
we knew something was going to happen.
We just
That's
know
what,
when and-
That's what
yeah.
an organization does. The Habs do that really well. But like they marketed this like 5 days before.
But the thing is,
They were
like,
making money off
it-
Sean Taylor's retirement, and he shows up in a hoodie.
It also looked like they threw it together in the last minute. Like it looked
Exactly.
awful.
Exactly.
It looked awful. Like you have 5 days. You can't play. Like
Fucking-
get the
you're-
office. Get the office party planning committee.
You're
Get
only a good player.
Get Angela Kinsey on it. Get the members of the party planning committee. They'll throw you a Moroccan Christmas.
Yeah.
And there you go.
You're only good player in the history of your organization, and you can't even have the balls to make a good fucking. Like,
Yeah.
how many good Redskins players have there been? I'm
Um,
putting Clinton Portis up there. That's how low the list
Yeah.
is.
There was that defensive end who was there
Like
forever.
Bruce Smith.
Bruce Smith, yeah.
Bruce Smith, mostly a Bills.
Mostly a Bill. That's
Yeah.
true.
I can't really think. I mean, who's that white running back? They retired his number. John Riggins.
John Riggins, yeah.
John Riggins is probably up there, but like John Riggins, you know.
Yeah.
That's
And like
it?
Doug Williams
RG3?
too. Doug Williams, yeah, he was impressive. He was the first black quarterback to win a
Super Bowl.
Super Bowl, but
Yeah,
that was kind of his career. Like he was a,
that was it.
he was a
after
good
that.
guy,
Yeah.
a good player, but he wasn't great. you know.
As it is in that era where it's one guy.
Champ Bailey.
Champ
Bailey's probably
Champ
the
Bailey's
greatest
number one.
Redskin.
Yeah. Well, Sean Taylor, Champ
Well,
Bailey.
yeah, it's 1A,
1A,
1B,
yeah.
exactly. So that was an example of.
Hey, we agreed. Look at that.
I know. Well, you have to be a monster not to agree on those two. But that was an example of poor leadership. Mike Tomlin was asked about whether or not he'd be taking or be interested in the USC job, and this was an example of what I thought of good leadership. And then there were some other things I read about on Twitter, and I was curious to see your perspective, Terry. Let's hear it.
Guys, I don't have time for that speculation. I mean, that's a joke to me. I got one of the best jobs in all of professional sport. Why would I have any interest in coaching college football? That'll be the last time that I address it. And not only today, but moving forward. Never say never, but never. Okay? Anybody else got any questions about any college jobs? There's not a booster with a big enough blank check.
else? All right.
Thank you. Anybody asking Sean Payton about that? You know, anybody asking Andy Reid about stuff like that?
Mike Tomlin just saved his job for another 5 years.
Well, also like the Steelers have had 3 coaches in there.
Yeah,
like,
like-
it's the safest job in the NFL.
Yeah, it's
He's
crazy.
he's had
I kind of like the formula.
yeah.
Stick to what you like.
Well, because so I believe that too because coaches often make like unnecessarily safe calls, even when like the math dictates not to do it because they're afraid if it goes wrong, it's going to cost them their job. We're not seeing that so much anymore. But Mike Tomlin was one of the first guys to be taking risks on 4th down and stuff, and it's because he's not worried about his job. He knows he's got a job, so he's going to just go out there and do the best job, period, for the team, and not worried about his future, his own future.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, so I think there is something to that. I agree with you.
Big Tomlin guy over here.
Yeah, I like that too. So there's a couple things in there. One, I didn't think about it that way because he's saying like, you know, you don't ask Sean Payton and Andy Reid about that because they're the 3 longest tenured coaches in the NFL. But someone brought this up. It was a journalist, and pardon me for forgetting who it was. I should have written down the script and forgot. But there's been a lot of like argument back and forth because again, it can't be somewhere in between in the sports media. It has to be one way or the other. But let's try and find the nuance a little bit. So we're saying that like, well, he specifically referenced 2 white coaches in a league with only 5 black coaches, and it's like, why do you show him the disrespect and not the Andy Reid or Sean Payton that kind of disrespect?
Yeah, I mean, it's like nobody's asking Andy Reid these questions because Andy Reid's not going to get fired. Not that Mike Tomlin's going to get fired, but there's more of a hint that Mike Tomlin might lose his job.
And the quarterback is at the end of his role.
Exactly, yeah. So it's all that, and it's like, okay, so but then Carson Palmer, who making the comment. It was Carson Palmer. It was Carson Palmer.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah. Making the comment, listen, he's from USC. Maybe they said...
Go out and try and get Tomlin?
No.
Go try to recruit?
Maybe he had a conversation with a coach over there, and all they said, the AD over there, whoever it is, and they said, yeah, we kind of like, we're looking at guys like Mike Tomlin, you know?
Yeah.
That's all he said. And Carson Palmer's like, yeah, Mike Tomlin's going to USC.
I think that's a good impression of Carson Palmer.
Yeah.
I like it. While I generally agree that I think he meant more about the tenure, there is one thing about Tomlin does carry a little bit of a chip on his shoulder because this actually happened. This is a real thing. This guy, his last name was Bailey. He was the CEO of the Dolphins. He was charged with finding the next head coach for the Dolphins, and was asked on a local Miami radio show, "What about Mike Tomlin?" To which he answered, "Well, he's just too hip-hop for this organization." So, if you want to talk coded language, so Mike Tomlin obviously has experienced this, right? Like he's experienced sort of dealing with people that
What does that
are
mean?
intolerant. Well, it means he's black.
But he actually used that word?
On radio.
Was he saying it tongue in cheek, or did he just try and say another way?
No, he
tried to be smooth about it.
I think he was trying to say like, oh well, you know, like he doesn't fit into our culture is almost always racial coding or some sort of coding, right? You're trying to say something without talking about the situation you're actually saying, right? And so he says that, and so obviously Tomlin has experienced this throughout his career, and then the Dolphins went on to hire Cam Cameron, by the way, who was fired after going 1-15, and Cam Cameron has never had a head coaching job again because it's Cam Cameron.
But was he hip hop?
He's the least hip hop coach. In his defense, in Bailey's defense, Cam Cameron was the least hip hop coach I've ever seen.
Why?
Casper the Ghost would be less hip hop.
Why?
He was just such the most square,
Like Daniel Jones?
the most boring. No, it's like TV dad boring. Like Patrick Duffy.
How do I not know this guy? Cam Cameron.
Look up Cam Cameron and
Eagle, show me Cam.
just put a picture of Cam Cameron on the screen. Any picture will do.
Cameron?
Yeah.
So that's good.
Put the picture where you think he looks the most hip hop, Eagle, and we'll see just by degrees how unhip hop.
How
Cam
hip hop
Cameron was.
is he? Cam Cameron. I can't remember this. Like, who did he coach?
There we go.
Oh yeah, I remember this guy. Yeah. He's like negative hip hop.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Like hip hop is like doesn't even exist in his world. Not like what that guy is not.
He probably like mispronounces like he calls it like hippity hop or
Hippity hop.
hip hoppy.
Like Bill Cosby, the hipping in, the bopping in, the banging.
there we
you
go.
know, like,
There we go.
There we go. Here's as hip hop as it's gonna get.
Yeah.
that's even there, man. It's like
Yeah.
I'm trying to find the hip hop in that picture. Purple?
I
guess.
guess.
He's kind of forced to wear it though.
Yeah, he has no choice.
So,
has no choice.
is that hip hop?
I don't think so.
Not even like a hat or anything.
So
No hip hop.
I do like the denial.
I mean,
I
there's
do.
a lot more hip hop there.
It wasn't.
Yeah, but
him.
it's not him.
Oh, who's that guy?
It was the swag of Ray Rice in that picture.
Well, who was the guy rubbing his face?
Ray Rice was the player.
Oh, who's the other guy?
Cam Cameron.
Okay, he is. That's what I said. He looks
Yeah.
he looks a little hip hop there with the beard.
I guess so.
He gets a +1 on the hip hop.
+1.
Yeah, just on that picture. He isn't so vanilla.
Yeah, pretty much. And the offense was as vanilla as that.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Despite being an offensive genius. So I like that denial. It feels a lot stronger than when Nick Saban was denying going to Alabama in the middle of the Dolphins season.
Yeah. And then went to Alabama.
Yeah. Another reason I hate Alabama. Already I'm a Georgia fan.
It's like an episode of Friday Night Lights. That whole scandal. We're like,
Yeah.
we know Nick.
we all know, dude.
We
all
know Big Dick Nick. We know.
So I was in Atlanta. I was there and I watched the NLCS game, the final game where the Braves won. I didn't go to the game because I was there with my wife.
Oh,
And
that would have been crazy.
I
Scherzer's
couldn't.
supposed to pitch. Oh man.
If I'm going with my wife, I have to buy both tickets because she doesn't want to go. So if I was with another dude, we could split the cost. But they were pricey. Like
Yeah, for
bleacher
sure.
seats were like $380.
Oh, that really okay to
Yeah.
that extent.
Yeah.
But
Well,
that would have been a nice game to go to, man.
yeah.
Bueller pitched as well as he could, man. On 2 days rest, but like,
It was a sick game.
Great
So
game.
it was awesome. So my birthday was on Sunday.
yes, it was. Happy.
Thank you. My friends in Atlanta celebrated it on Saturday by throwing a house party and putting on the game on the outside deck. So we had cigars,
Oh yeah, that's cool.
barbecue.
That's fun.
We had beers.
Your life
Love
is so
that
tough.
Yeah, it was a really really tough week.
That's the only
guys.
part about I mean, my birthday falls on a good month, but like that's the only part about Montreal that I don't like is like you can't just do that all year long, even
Yeah.
if it's a little nippy outside, you know.
Yeah, you gotta cover the nips.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So I actually got to watch that game, and nobody could say anything about it because it was my birthday party. It was
There
like,
you go.
that's what we're watching.
That's what it is. Even though it's
Um,
at your house, we're watching.
But
that
it was
shit.
it was cool that
But
like
baseball's good to watch.
yeah,
And
especially
they-
in
and
a
the-
party.
It's Atlanta.
Yeah,
And you're in Atlanta.
Yeah, but-
and you have to convince them to watch it.
you have to convince anybody to watch baseball these days.
No, but I
you
get
and
it,
I are
but-
the only remaining baseball fans.
I get it, but
we've
there's-
discussed this on this show.
There's a little like still support for your city.
Yeah,
Always.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
in Montreal,
But Atlanta-
there's a million people that never watch hockey in the season.
But
But all
the-
of a sudden they're in the Stanley
the
Cup
Braves
final,
are like
and they have hats and shit.
the Braves are like the impact here. Like they're like the third-ish, fourth-ish
It can't be.
team in
It
the
can't
city.
be.
They're not as
But the
it's not that-
90s that they had.
Yeah, I agree, but it's not the first of all the Dogs.
Yeah.
It's not the Bulldogs. It's not the Falcons second.
Falcons second.
Falcons second.
I would have put Braves up there.
No, Braves are slightly behind the Falcons. Just because don't forget in the 90s they did all that and only won a single World Series. So they kind of feel deceived by the Bobby Cox.
You know, in Philadelphia, the Flyers are the number one ticket.
Really?
Yeah.
That's shocking.
Yeah.
I would have thought it was the Phillies.
Yeah.
But okay.
No, Philly's the last.
So nobody likes baseball except us.
Yeah.
That's proof. So Charlie Morton, he threw 16 pitches on like a broken leg and was throwing 96 miles
But
an
what
hour.
was
So
that?
here's the clip that he actually gets injured. It's just
But
a
what
little
it-
bounce off of his foot.
Did he wrap
broken
his
feet,
foot with
yeah.
something, or was that like a?
No, he
No,
continued
he
pitching.
just played through the pain.
No,
He just-
but there's like something sticking out of his foot at one point.
I think that's just maybe his pad or.
Oh, okay, because it looks like he tries to like touch it.
Yeah, I think he's just sort of because he has like probably a pad or something, and he's just sort of shifting it. Or
Oh, okay, yeah, it looks like it.
I think it's just discomfort.
and this is the one where he kind of collapses on striking out Altuve, and then they're like, "Oh shit, we got to get you an MRI." And like, "Yep, you have a broken leg."
after striking out Altuve.
Three.
Yeah.
yeah, after striking out
Who was
one
it?
of the best playoff hitters
No,
in
it was
recent
Altuve,
history.
Correa, and Bregman.
Was the first one Bregman?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so. I think I saw it on Instagram this morning.
That's
yeah.
insane.
It just reminded me of it. I think it was all three of them. Just bang, bang, bang. Like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah,
Broken foot. But now it's series is tied 1-1.
yeah,
Going
it
back
is
to
tied.
Atlanta.
Apparently, he apologized to his teammates in the dugout, saying, "Sorry, I couldn't pitch anymore." Like he wanted to do more pitches. Like 16 pitches on a broken leg.
That's crazy.
You're fine. Thank
Yeah,
you, thank
okay.
you for your service.
Appreciate
Thank
it,
you. But the thing is with Charlie Morton and the Braves in general, this is the first time in my life that I'm actually cheering for the Braves
Yeah.
because of the Astros.
Yeah.
I think it's the only team at this point that I would be cheering that creates a scenario for me where as a diehard Expos fan, they're still my favorite team. So as a diehard Expos fan, I still hate the Braves.
I'm rooting for the Braves.
I'm rooting for the
But
Braves.
I hate the Braves.
But we have to.
Chipper Jones, fuck you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Name me
But
more.
I'm actually
Name me more old Braves guys that I can't stand.
Mark Lemke,
Sure.
Terry
him.
Pendleton,
Oh yeah.
the least worthy MVP of all time. Terry Pendleton,
Worst of all time, just because his name was Terry.
the Smoltz.
John Smoltz, yeah, for sure. Who
Greg
else?
Maddox.
Greg Maddox. Greg Maddox, he was good though.
He was so good.
So good. And who's the other guy? The tall guy. The other
Tom
pitcher?
Glavine.
Tom Glavine. He played for the Mets, so we give him a pass.
Yeah, that's the only reason. That's the
We
only
give him a
reason.
pass. But yeah, so I mean, fuck them, all of them, You know
all
what
of
I
them.
mean?
We know so much about 90s baseball.
Most of my baseball knowledge is 95 to 2005. Most of it.
There was a thing they used to do on Levitard. I don't know if they still do it to this day, but they would just do a whole segment saying 90s baseball names
That's amazing.
because it's the most nostalgic you can get,
Yeah,
right?
it's the best.
90s baseball.
How fun! How good of a conversation is it with your buddies? You know, you've had a couple, and like everybody's like,
Remember this
casual
guy?
baseball- Fuck, remember how sick he was?
Remember
man?
David Seguin's arms?
Yeah, exactly. He's always like a topic, you know. FP Santangelo is
Yeah.
my softball team.
Orlando Cabrera.
Yeah, exactly. Like these names
18, baby.
they're just coming out all the
Mark
time.
Gruzelanek,
Yeah, Mark Goodselanek. Who else? Darren Fletcher,
Darren Fletcher, Jose Vidro.
Jose Vidro, of course. Yeah.
So we're just doing that segment now.
Not Chavo Guerrero. What's Vladimir Guerrero's brother's name?
Juventud.
Juventud. No.
Juventud Guerrero.
Eddie Guerrero.
No, also
Chavo
Eddie Guerrero.
Guerrero.
No.
Juventud Guerrero. Rey Mysterio.
So is anyone cheering for the Astros who doesn't live in Houston?
That I wanted to ask you this question. So if they win, are they vindicated? Like, okay, we still won. Now we didn't cheat. Like, are you guys gonna give us a break now?
My answer to that is it's pretty complex. It's a fuck you, cheaters.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, but they won now, fair and square,
Yeah,
right?
still don't care.
But they won.
Ruined for me.
Yeah, listen, there's always gonna be the asterisk, right? So it's like,
Yeah.
what are you gonna do? But if they win, it's kind of like we still did it, not cheating. So
Yeah.
fuck you.
But I think that there's also
That's how I would feel if I was Altuve and Correa.
All in favor of calling it the Asterix.
I think that was already done like 16 times.
I
3
mean,
years
I
ago.
didn't know.
first time we did it on the show though.
2017 they won. Jesus. Yeah, first time we did it on the show. Yeah. There's a first for everything, Eagle.
That's true. That's true. Look, if you're not first, you're last. So
Yeah.
you're last.
That's stupid. You could be
You have
second.
the final word
That
on
was
it.
before you guys.
Heck, you could even be
So
fifth.
It's because we knew the joke from 2017. The thing with the thing is with them specifically is I don't know. I'm just fed up with them. I'm fed up with them being good. I'm fed up with them
Yeah.
being around.
Go
And
Bravo.
the Braves are actually an exciting team.
Very
with
good team
like
to
a
watch.
lot of like Freddie Freeman's sort of like the old guard, but
Yeah.
a lot of young talents coming up, and they're doing this without Albies, which is amazing.
That's true. Since the beginning of the year, I declared myself a baseball guy, so I followed.
Nice.
Okay. Didn't follow as well as I thought I was going to do it because
Impossible.
baseball is impossible.
It's
Right?
If you want to play golf, it's impossible.
So I
to
knew
follow
what was
baseball.
happening with the Mets. I
Yeah.
knew what was happening with the NL East. I was guaranteed. I knew what was happening with the major teams. I knew the major stuff. So I only listened to one baseball podcast. I listened to like a few podcasts now. One of them is a baseball podcast, and it's and he predicted in March. He's like, Braves are going to the World Series, and they had such an awful beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Awful.
But they
And then
play a
the
billion games.
Exactly. Then the rotation started like being healthy, and they brought everything back.
And the
then,
Mets met it out.
then you got fucking big jock cock Peterson and Freddie Freeman. Good for him. I hope they win. I really do hope they
Yeah,
win.
I agree. This is the topic that we're least excited to talk about because it just sucks that this is still happening. Everything that's going on with the Blackhawks makes me want to vomit. My sports fandom was first broken with Sheldon Kennedy. When I found out that something could happen, because you grew up and you're taught all the things they tell you about pro sports. They tell you it's all about the team. It's all about doing things, and the guy what you do matters to the guy next to you. And you're taught again that the leaders on the team, the coaches, the general managers, and the team captains, and the better players, they're the ones who lead the ship. And when situations like that happen, you realize, that's not the case in a lot of situations. And Joe Paterno was the next one for me. That Joe Paterno was to me like, when I was a kid and like very, very young and harbored the smallest dreams of playing football, I was like, I want to go to Penn State and I want to play for
Penn
Joe
State,
Paterno, right?
That stadium, the jerseys,
And
Joe Paterno,
that
like,
helmet, the white
history,
helmet, like it's just cool.
all of it. Yeah, I was a Penn State. I had a Penn State Nittany Lions sweater. I wore it all the time.
Yeah. And
Also North Carolina.
can you
Tar Heels
imagine wearing
pants.
that
Weird.
sweater now? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's tough because your heart as a fan was broken that way. You know what I mean? As a sports fan, you don't have to be a fan of that team, just as a sports fan in general. And this year we hear about the sexual assault situation regarding Brad Aldridge, which first I want to say first started breaking in May because that's when we started getting reporting on it. But it started 11 years ago. It started when John Doe 1, who's now been identified as Kyle Beach, 11th overall pick, first went to the NHLPA, first went to this team, was sent to a therapist who turned out to not be a therapist, who's now facing fraud charges. And
I didn't know that.
that therapist was instructed, that quote-unquote therapist was instructed to tell him that it was his fault for allowing himself to be molested by Brad Aldridge. There was also a team meeting when this happened, and all those people in that room, Joel Quenneville, now head coach of the Florida Panthers, the upper management of the Chicago Blackhawks, all got together and said, and this is a quote from Quenneville, sorry, it's not an exact quote, but it's what Beach has been told secondhand from this, is Quenneville said, well, it's the playoffs. We need to focus on winning.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine working in an organization that A, tolerated it, and B, covered it up. And we'll talk about the consequences of covering up later, but just on the surface, this happened. And we've talked about this before. Why are you protecting this? Not even your head coach. Like, not even that would be better if it's your head coach, but this is a replaceable coach on your team.
Yeah.
Get rid of him.
He's a video guy.
Not only should you
I
fire
could be
him,
a video guy.
not only should you fire him, but your next call should be to the police because he committed a crime.
Yeah.
Period. That's it.
Like, what did this guy have on them that they wanted to keep him?
It's the whole, you got to protect the culture, and
But it's not. You're not protecting.
you're not protect it. It's that's a cop out.
You protected zero.
You literally, not only did you not protect anyone, you put people in harm's way.
Yeah.
You put people in harm's way. Yeah. So the fake therapist is the part of it that killed me. The NHLPA refused to take it on. They said there was no evidence. The Blackhawks denied this in May, and as late as last week, were saying that there was no evidence, even though they knew there was evidence. Kind of like John Gruden not knowing about other emails, even though, like, dude, you wrote the emails.
Yeah.
You had to know there was other emails,
Or he probably just doesn't remember because it's just so
common for him. Yeah. Well, that's a whole other
Yeah.
discussion
Whatever.
too.
But now the kid comes out and he says his story and everybody's, he's getting it's online is crazy.
Yeah.
People to say, like, how did he let this happen? No, I'll never judge anybody for being in that situation and not knowing what to do. And what the worst part is that he actually did do something where some people wouldn't do anything. Like Theo Fleury did nothing for years until he finally came out against Sheldon Kennedy. So it's like, what are we doing? Like, why are we judging this kid for coming out now? And even though, like,
it also wasn't now.
He's come out.
Came out
like, it's just
11 years ago when it happened. Also,
the information is coming out now because they got caught finally.
So, like, if you're not comfortable coming out, it's not like you're still the victim of what happened.
Yeah.
So you do it on your own timeline, right? And there's a long 26-minute interview with him on TSN, and he talked about how he was doing drugs and alcohol to cope. That this essentially he just wasn't the same player later on, and on top of that, he felt responsibility because this coach would later get a letter of recommendation from the Blackhawks.
That was the part that fucked me up the most.
He went on to coach in college,
Yeah.
where he had 2 accusers. He went to coach in high school, where he then molested a minor. And Kyle Beach, who is the victim, is in tears saying he feels responsible for what happened to those other people.
Because he didn't come out sooner.
But in the meantime, you have an entire organization systemically building in denial, and you have players today defending Bowman and Quenneville. These people had their lives harmed because they protected them, and that to me is just a hard pill to swallow from people you trust to be leaders.
And the players you're talking about, who Taves and Kane saying that Bowman and Q were good guys. Okay, listen, maybe they were good guys to you.
But also maybe it's also possible that good guys do bad things.
And he did a bad thing.
He did a terrible thing,
He
and
did
he
a
should
thing.
pay the consequence for that.
They all made mistakes. Anybody that was involved in this all made mistakes. And now all we see online now in Montreal is if Marc Bergevin's involvement and his name didn't come across once. So I mean, there's a plus, I guess.
So I have
but now there's all these things, all these people saying like, oh, because that there's another reason why Bergevin drafted Logan Mailloux, and it's like, okay, now we're gonna get into
no. I
that.
think that's a stretch, but at the same time, when he was in Chicago, Eagle, correct me if the title is wrong, but I believe it was head of player development. This is a player that was in the minors and was brought up in the playoff run because you can bring up basically as many players as you like. They call them the Black Aces.
Yeah.
And so this is a guy who was specifically within Bergevin's purview. Bergevin was in the executive management of the team, right? He
If
had
he's
executive
player
position.
development, then yeah, he is involved with the video guy a lot.
So
just
and the player, right? Like the
And the player, yeah.
So Bergevin started as a professional scout. In 2008, he was an assistant coach, and then in July
2010.
2009, he was
2012.
director of player personnel.
2010, sorry.
And then after that, in 2011, he became assistant general manager, who then he basically replaced Kevin Cheveldayoff. I can never
Cheveldayoff,
pronounce
yeah.
that. Who's now with Winnipeg.
Yes.
Well,
who's
till
also
tomorrow.
under the gun right now.
Yeah, big time.
He's
And,
meeting with the NHL tomorrow. So, but my take with Marc Bergevin, who I've come around on, I wasn't with him. Didn't like the first few trades, and then like later on, I was like, you know what? He's actually done a great job with the Canadians. Although this offseason, some question marks, but that's all the hockey stuff. To me, if you were at that team involved with the executive at that time, and you didn't know what was happening, you're incompetent.
Yeah.
And if you knew what was happening, you're a piece of shit.
Exactly. Everybody.
Period.
Anybody.
So those are his two choices.
Yeah.
Is he a piece of shit or is he incompetent?
Can I go with
I
an
go
option number
incompetency.
3 just for benefit of the doubt here? He hears about it. He asks, "Hey, what's going on with this?" And someone goes, "Oh, we're taking care of it." And
It's
he
already
goes,
done.
That's
we
not
sent-
good enough.
He
That's not
decided
good
to go to a
enough.
therapist. or
I
whatever.
agree with you, but it also depends on who told him that.
So, but
Because-
we also
because,
hear
like, okay, well, let's put in the scenario here. If let's say we're running a business and we have an employee that did this.
Yeah, hey, what's going on with this Alex or whatever it is? I
Yeah.
heard something happened with one of our sponsors.
And
or
then
something.
you ask me and you're like, hey, what's going on with that? I'd be like, oh, he's gonna go see a therapist and we're doing this and this and this. You're like, you're gonna trust me because you've worked with me.
if someone says it's sexual assault, Terry, they're not staying in the company.
Oh no, I agree with that.
It's
yeah.
over.
No, I'm talking about what happened with the kid.
Oh, what happened to the kid? No, for
Yeah.
sure. But I'm saying, like, there's very clearly a cover up that was enacted by the Chicago Blackhawks. I have a hard time believing Marc Bergevin wasn't involved.
Maybe they really kept him out of it.
or it could be like
when,
I said,
when Brett
if-
Sobel is saying all the players, and the players were mocking him on the ice about it. Players were mocking him during the Stanley Cup celebration.
That's pretty fucked up.
So you're telling me the guy who would become the assistant general manager a year later
They don't know about this.
had no idea? I can't believe that. I'm sorry.
All right.
So
Well, we'll see.
if he didn't, he's incompetent.
100%. I agree. Can't disagree with that.
And that's coming from guys who like Marc Bergevin, right? So like,
Well, I mean, I like him as a GM.
yeah,
I don't know if he's an asshole
we don't
like
we
that,
don't know
then
him as a
fine.
person, right? We every time we talked about him, we've always talked about what
I
he
mean, he
does.
seems like. I mean, all these guys seem like good guys until they make
so did
mistakes.
Gruden, right? You know
Well,
what
I
I mean?
mean, listen. I think Gruden is just so, like Tony DeAngelo. What he said, he's still playing in the NHL. But like, I think he was kind of just raised into the way speaking, and you were never told not to.
I mean,
speak
I
that
would
way.
understand that if it was 1961, but like,
No, but you're never told. You've never seen a. You've never like. I see people all the time.
If people-
guys that pump their chest in the highway and stuff. I'm like, that guy has never been punched in the face. You
Yeah.
can tell when somebody has never been punched in the face by his older brother, cousin, guy in school, anything, because they think they know there's no consequences on the way back.
the thing is, in these cases though, when you're covering up, whether it's this case or when you're covering up in the case of John Gruden, where you're not talking that way in public, you're only doing it in private, you know you're doing it wrong.
Yeah,
You know you're doing it wrong.
I agree.
So that I think that's enough heaviness for the show, because it's, look, we don't pick the news, guys. We believe there's nothing more that Terry and I would love to do than talk about sports and make fun of stupid shit that happens in sports. It's why we started the show. But once in a while these things happen, and it would be disingenuous for us not to mention it, right?
Exactly.
before we get into the rapid fire and go to some stupidities, what do we think is going to happen with Quenneville and what's his name? I can't pronounce.
Stan
for
Bowman,
Winnipeg.
shovel day off.
Yes.
Well, Bowman's already he stepped down.
Yeah.
Bowman stepped down. Quenneville.
I
He's
think
7-0 with the Panthers.
I think Quenneville. I think
He
Quenneville-
coached
he's
last
gonna-
night, by the way, when the fucking announcement came out.
Yeah,
How
and
you put him on the
refused to meet
bench
with the
after
media.
that?
Refused to
Yeah.
meet with the media.
And he's gonna. Well, I mean, listen, it's a legal thing, so I mean, they can't speak, right? So even
I think
even
I-
Bergevin isn't speaking because
Yeah.
he might have to be litigated and shit.
I think Quenneville at the very least will be suspended if he doesn't step down. I think it's too big a scandal. For
100% they're gonna spend him. He won't finish the season in Florida.
No.
Which is a shame because they're a fucking good team.
I think they're good anyway, though. The team's really good.
Quenneville's a good coach.
Yeah, but the guys on the ice matter.
I agree, but Quenneville's a fucking good coach. And in
Yeah.
hockey, you need, like a coach goes a long way.
Oh, for sure. But
guy
I
who-
just
a guy-
I refuse to believe that he's this messianic figure. He's again the second winningest coach of all time, right? After Scotty Bowman. But the thing is, like, there's other guys, and there are a lot of guys who want that job because Florida's finally spending some money. They got
Yeah.
young goaltending. They got
Florida.
They're in Florida. There's no sales
No
tax.
state
No state
tax.
income tax. Sorry. It's the place to be right now if you're a hockey fan. Because I was big on them last year until Kucherov came back and just took their soul away. But still, great team, you know. So yeah, let's get to rapid fire. But before we do, Terry, who brings us this wonderful show that we're on?
As you actually just got the notification, Hot Streak
Yeah.
Fantasy. Hot Streak Fantasy is it's the best in-play fantasy app you can play. So you pick a few players, you put a little bet, a little wager, and you get the maximum amount of money. Use promo code HOTSAUCE, and they will match your initial deposit with a bonus. That's Hot Streak Fantasy, only available on iOS. Right now, baseball is firing off. It's about to end. Baseball is easy money. Like if you hit like a couple hits or a couple outs in a row, you can make some good money there because the odds are great.
I'm struggling with football, but I
Football's
did.
rough.
But basketball's
It's
back,
rough.
so I'm happy because that's where I made my money. is
Basketball
basketball.
is so easy to make,
Yeah.
I find.
Yeah.
It's like you'll have a few big ones where you'll lose like a few in a row, but then you'll just get another heater and you're
If
good.
you're actually like paying attention to the game
Yeah.
and you kind of know the team a little bit and know the rotations,
Yeah.
you can sort of take advantage of when you know guys are coming off the court.
Yeah, exactly. That's
It
the
really
that's the whole
helps.
thing with it. I don't watch too much basketball, so
Yeah.
I'm still making money not having watched basketball.
Yeah.
It was
I
funny
could,
listening.
I
You
could
have to
tell by the Ben
explain
Simmons
betting.
conversation last week.
Yeah, exactly. Also, how bad? So I only watch basketball unless it's like the Pacers. I'm
Yeah.
going to a Pacers Knicks game, by the way.
Oh, sweet. In New York?
November, yeah.
Awesome.
Because they opened the border November 8th.
Yeah.
So I'm going.
I'd still fly.
No. I love driving.
I hate driving.
I love driving.
I'll let you drive, though. That's fine.
So I'm going into a Pacers Knicks game. What was I just saying?
Pacers Knicks. You
No,
were watching
what?
basketball. The only time
Oh,
you
yeah.
watch is it.
So the only time I watch basketball is either the Pacers or if I'm betting on the game. So I was watching the Clippers and the Trailblazers the other day, and I saw a crazy stat line. I'm like, Portland's pretty good. I mean, I think they're a decent team. They got good shooters.
They have a good offense.
They have a good offense. I'm like, I saw plus 22.5. I'm like, taking the over. I'm taking plus 22.5 all day. I took that all the way to plus 27.5. They lost by 28 points.
Yeah.
Why are they so bad?
They can't defend anything.
I know, but like, figure it out.
And-
Maybe go get Ben Simmons.
Well, so if
That's the number one.
if they
trade,
can if
right?
they can keep Lillard and what's his name, the other shooter, McCollum, Ben Simmons would be amazing. That becomes a championship contender immediately.
But they don't have the 85% that we were talking
There
about.
we go.
Before.
They can't match the cap.
So erase what you heard last week between me and Duke because we have absolutely no idea how basketball works.
I was pulling my hair out.
Can
should've
we
called
also
it.
just, how does your brother not know what a plus minus over under is? Like, how?
I'll be honest.
It's not hard.
I'll be honest.
we
Until
tried to explain it to him for 4
until
minutes.
I
He wasn't
actually
listening.
until I don't bet a ton, but I love explaining gambling to Duke. By the way, is a great segment.
Yeah.
But not the gambling itself. The picks I didn't care that much about, but the explaining to Duke was the best part.
The details.
But the until I actually bet now and again on games, and I don't bet as much as you do, but I didn't understand it either. The plus minus, because it's counterintuitive when you first look at it, because plus looks like favorite and negative looks like underdog.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Like-
the way I taught myself is opposite. Just think opposite.
So this is how stupid people are, or maybe geniuses. In Greek, left is aristera, right is dexia. Okay, the reason why I know which one is which is because aristera has more letters, but I can do less with my left hand.
Yeah, there you go. There we go.
That's I swear I've taught myself that since I was like, but when I broke my arm when I was like 15, 16 years old, switched to the old lefty. Now I'm doing a whole lot with my left hand. I'll tell you that much.
I can imagine. I used to joke with Duke that in order to learn left and right while driving, he would have to draw it on his. He would have draw L and R on his hands. He learned it though. He learned it.
He picked it up pretty quick.
All right. This actually carries us into our first topic here. Overture. Despite hiring a new agent who's actively looking to help Penn State.
Penn State coach.
Penn State coach. Okay. Well, you have to put commas in this.
It's not a comment.
It's just a. We want to read it a run-off sentence.
Despite hiring a new agent who's actively looking to help Penn State coach James Franklin, you're right. I miswrote it. Figured out.
Despite hiring a new agent who's actively looking to help Penn State coach, James Franklin used the opportunity to express that he was focused on his next opponent, the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Obviously, tremendous challenge going on the road to the big house. Obviously, tremendous challenge going on the road to the big house. Obviously, tremendous.
So they're playing the Ohio State Buckeyes, and he said, obviously, it's a big challenge going to the big house, which is in Michigan. And this is.
You can't say in Big Ten. Big Ten, you gotta know.
Yeah,
you gotta know the stadiums.
He hired a new agent, and is linked to all these like coaching rumors like LSU and USC, and is one of the hot coaching prospects, and didn't know the question. One of the first questions was, have you been able to keep focus with all the rumors? And the answer was, no, we got to focus on going to obviously going into the big house and preparing for next week's game.
The Ohio State Buckeyes.
Good job.
Playing at the big house. Imagine you could just trade stadiums.
Yeah. Like, what? Our fans don't like us anymore.
Yeah,
Let's
we
get
call
outta
the
here.
stadium gear, stadium goat, whatever you call it, and you can pick your stadium for the rest of the year.
Or if you win the SEC,
Stadium
for example,
Bowl.
you get to choose which stadium you work at.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, next, Smoke Stauber.
Smoked over, baby.
There we go.
It's smoked over. Everyone knows that.
Everyone, at least most people, have had a first time where you've had your first little puff pass. Ariel Helwani actually recounted his anecdote on the
Ariel Helwani, Montreal weed too. Mm-hmm. Montreal weed is great weed.
So here we go.
Oh, I can't hear.
As I'm this,
just take your headphone off.
I'm in this Helwani, unfiltered Helwani, free Helwani, independent Helwani state of mind. I was at one of my favorite moments. One of my favorite experiences as a kid, as a teen, I mean, at this point, I was probably more than a teenager. I was probably 21, 22. I know exactly what I was. 2003, I think it was. So I was 21. I was at Expos Giants with my friends. Shout out to Brandon Svark, who watches this show sometimes. My longtime friend, who I've known longer than the vast majority of the people that I'm friends with till this day. We're at Expos Giants, and the Expos are down 3-0 in the bottom of the ninth. Bases loaded. Brad Wilkerson comes up to the plate. Now, I'm not a big Vice guy. I don't really indulge. Not a big drinker, not a big smoker. I said to my friends, Brandon was there with me. I think Alan Dudkowitz was there. I could be wrong. And I said to him, and they would always try to get me to, partake in a little wacky tobacco, as they say. And I said, all right, if he hits a walk-off grand slam, I'll do it with you guys.
Wow.
And lo and behold, he did. Look it up. August 2003, Brad Wilkerson hit a walk-off grand slam against the San Francisco Giants. And I'm a man of my word. I had to partake.
The first time I ever
So that was
smoked
a great
weed, I
moment.
was in, we broke into a, what do you want to call them? Bulldozer.
Okay.
We broke into a bulldozer. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. You're good.
We broke into a bulldozer and we hotboxed it. That was the first time I ever smoked weed.
The first time was I was with some friends, and none of us knew how to roll, and so we took like 8 papers and rolled up what looked like a linear diaper. Walked to the park, and it took us like 3 hours to light it because it's like the paper would just go out because nothing's happening.
There's nothing burning. There's no cherry.
Yeah,
It's just burning.
So eventually we got to the weed, and we all got very, 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 very slightly high. Very slightly.
I remember my first like real high was off of chewing tobacco. Remember Skull?
Mhm.
like the flavored chewing tobacco.
Yeah.
You have to be 16 to buy it.
Mm-hmm.
And that got me buzzed one time. Buzzed. Now I just do regular dips.
Yeah.
Like I took one today and it fucked me up because I didn't take one in a while.
Oh yeah, when you haven't done it in a while, it'll get you.
Yeah.
My first experience with edibles was we were at a party and we made brownies, and ate them. Man, nothing's happening, you know. So one of my friends on the way like, go pick up some more, and then by the time you show up at the house, everyone's ruined.
Everybody's destroyed.
But then I
you
was
can't
like,
eat too much.
my
man.
parents are
Fucks
coming
you up.
home. We need to get rid of this. So we rolled up all that was left and smoked it all the rest of the night. One of my friends was found later upstairs with the hoodie pulled over his head, rocking himself back and forth because he was convinced that my parents, who I believe were in Europe at the time, had driven home. Eagle?
That sounds like an Apple Maps story.
Eagle, did we get an admission from you?
That's unbelievable.
You will not get an admission from me.
Flip the table.
It's not gonna happen.
Flip the table. Goodness. All right.
Eagle, man.
Yeah, so another thing though, I was actually at that game. I remember that Brad Wilkerson. I guess I remember.
You were at that game?
I was at that game.
Wow.
I remember. I said at that point I was like, you know what?
You know what? Fuck it. I was at that game too.
No. I was. I remember I was with my dad and my brother in the bleachers.
Yeah.
And he hit the home run, and we're both like, we're all super excited. All three of us are super excited. And I remember thinking to myself, like, you know, if we could just build around Brad Wilkerson, we're gonna be okay. The Expos will be saved. The Expos will be saved. Brad Wilkerson.
I think I'm stealing the story. You ever do that? Like where you say a story and you, as you're saying the story, you're saying it in the first person, but you realize I'm like, this might not be my story.
Yeah. I've done
because
it to
you've
my
heard
wife.
I've done that.
I've done it to my wife where she's told me, I've heard her tell the story in front of 3 or 4 people, and then
Yeah, exactly.
I don't realize in my own memory I've replaced her as myself.
Yeah, that's so.
And then I end up in like the women's changing room, and I don't know where the story goes after
It's
that.
happened to me at least a handful of times. I'm like, whoa, we gotta be careful with that.
Yeah, that broad didn't fit
You
well.
gotta be careful with what you're admitting to doing here.
All right, next, Tree of Life. Philadelphia Eagles coach Nick Sirianni has gone from overemphasizing his team will be smart to playing rock, paper, scissors with prospects, and now he is saying the following.
There's got to be a message that I have to keep everybody together and to keep everybody it's that together and keep everybody sticking to the what we really want to do. And that's right, this is what I said to the team today, Howard, is that I said, right, that you know, the results aren't there right now, but what's going on here is that there's growth under the soil. I put a picture of a flower up, right, and that it's coming through the ground, and the roots are growing out, and the roots are continuing to grow out, and everybody wants to see results. Shoot, nobody wants to see results more than us, right? We want to see results too, but it's really important that the foundation is being built and that the roots are growing out. And the only way the roots grow out every single day and they grow stronger and they grow better is if that we all water, we all fertilize, we all do our part. Each individual coach, each individual player, everybody in the building, that we do our part to water to make sure that when it does pop out, it really pops out and it grows. And so that was my message today. And so I'm always, like I said to you guys before, I'm always thinking,
just like, you know, you're about to bullshit through an answer and you just forget where you are and you just keep on talking, trying to catch up to where you are.
You know what I thought of?
That's happened to me too.
This sounds like a 6-year-old trying to tell a story, but he gets lost along the way.
It reminds me of that kid. It reminds me of that meme where the kid's like, and that. It reminds me exactly of that.
But so it's that's the thing, because you mentioned a job interview. Someone interviewed him. Like, he's been in an interview, probably given answers like this, right?
But they're like, he's just too good of a coach.
Yeah, there's just something about that soil analogy, you know? Like, when do you think the first time Nick Sirianni smoked was? That day, perhaps? right before that press conference?
That day, while he was there, he probably just took a bump with one of his teammates.
Yeah. Or is it like, he's like, you know what? People really like that Ted Lasso stuff. Let me try some of that.
And
then didn't really know how to do it,
Yeah.
and then tried to bullshit his way through
Be a
it.
goldfish. Which I said a lot today, by the way. I haven't seen an episode of Ted Lasso, but I use the be a goldfish a lot.
On Monday, I will be dressed as Ted Lasso. I'm shaving off the beard, just going with the mustache.
Hey, all right.
I am a white guy, so
it's a good,
that's all it takes.
fits.
Be white, have a
and
mustache.
you got Sudeikis style hair.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Well, that's why it's sort of grown out a little
Yeah.
bit, so comb it over.
Get a little messy there.
All right, next, Chopped. When MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred was questioned ahead of the World Series regarding the Braves' name and their tradition of the tomahawk chop, he answered, quote, "It's important to understand we have 30 markets in the country," unquote.
So I like the honesty of saying we like money. So there's that.
I don't see anything wrong with it.
So we don't have to see anything wrong with it because we're not native.
Yeah, no, I guess.
You know what I mean? So like, my thing is, I always say, look,
but like, is there any racial undertone in it?
well, I mean, so I think there's a difference when, for example, the Blackhawks are named after a specific military regiment. The Seminoles are named after a specific tribe from that region where they have the blessing from the local Seminole tribe. I don't think in a vacuum, although the Cleveland Indians jersey was particularly bad because that was a specific caricature.
Face.
Yeah, that was not great.
And it was like a caricature.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
It was like a
So
goofy looking guy.
the thing is, and I think just by virtue of knowing Atlanta a little bit, it's often portrayed as like a homogenous thing where like this one tribe is okay, but the thing is, you're not named after a tribe. You're named after the Braves as like a whole, like you're just terming them all. So like, there's not a singular tribe that can agree because like, what if another one's like, well, we're not comfortable with that. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And then
it's too blanketed.
the other thing is that this is a team that recently moved the stadium out of where they were into Cobb County. So like, they went from like an area where there's a lot of Black and Hispanic people who worked and lived around there, and then moved it to basically a super affluent white area. Because again, as Rob Manfred said, we like money.
Yeah.
So the area in Atlanta, there's already a lot of division. There is division about the Tomahawk Chop within the city because of that. There's a lot of racial tension in Atlanta, in case you haven't noticed in the last 2 years. So I think that all you need to do is listen. You don't need to change anything per se, but just listen.
Yeah.
Hear them out, and then you can make a decision. But it just feels
because the Braves name, there's nothing wrong with the
not
name.
Specifically, yeah. The Chop. You know, maybe if the Chop wasn't encouraged by the team, if the fans do it, the fans do it.
If your name was the Savages, which is in our terms, if I call you a savage, I'm not necessarily. It's not a bad thing. Like I'll say you're a savage on the football field or whatever.
I think it's just the idea that it makes like the natives be like a hegemonist group where they're not. Like they're
very peaceful.
Like, not only that, but like they're one group of people, but they're not. They're various tribes, right? So I think that's more the issue than anything else. But I mean, I think it's not even the worst of it. And all it takes really just listen to what people are saying.
Yeah, exactly.
And most of the people in pain, I'm not talking about the people that are over the top, right? Again, we talked about this all show. There's usually people on both sides pulling. It's like, but you could just listen for a second.
Yeah.
It's like, who was the comedian you had me listen to? His special during the lockdown?
Bo Burnham.
Bo Burnham.
Oh, he has that part.
But he has one part. He's like, can anyone just shut the fuck up? At any time. Just some person, shut the fuck up. One person, shut up. Shut up. Just shut up. And that's when I see everybody's talking. It's like everyone's just freaking out. Like,
everybody's talking about people.
Just listen to what the people are saying. Yeah. And that's all it takes. Just listen and be like, all right, this bothers you. Let's figure out why. Yeah. And let's come to a conclusion together.
All right, next. MetaMan. Facebook has announced that they plan to rebrand their company and will soon be known as Meta. This is the picture that was posted as part of the announcement. Just as a FYI to anyone doing social media or any marketing promotional stuff, don't put a guy in front of a fucking white screen where someone can easily Photoshop anything into this. Like, it takes zero effort. Zero effort.
That's a good point. We got to get Duke on that ASAP.
Like, it's too easy. Also, in that announcement, at one point he's in his house or something, like his living room.
Like this. Like, you can do a lot with
somebody's hands
like this. Yeah,
you can do a lot.
The internet's undefeated when it comes to shit like this.
We don't have to do anything. There was a shot of him in his, like, living room house or whatever it is. And for some reason, this is, like, his backdrop. Why does he have a fucking bottle of hot sauce up here or, like, barbecue sauce? It's, like, Sweet Baby Ray's hot sauce or something as a book holder.
Like a bookend?
Yeah. My guess.
It's a fucking bottle of barbecue sauce.
My guess is that they found out that Sweet Baby Ray's was popular for people between the ages of 18, 30, and 35.
And how did they find this? How did they find this information?
So I had two thoughts. My first thought is Meta is an interesting name. I thought they were going to go with Grand Theft Info. I thought that would have been a better name.
Grand Theft Info.
That would have been a better name for Facebook.
That's very good. That's like a good flag football team.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Theft Info. That's fucking good, man.
The next thing I thought of was, do you remember Star Trek: The Next Generation?
Yeah, of course.
Is he trying to be Data?
It's unbelievable. Eh? I was thinking about that.
Like he's trying to be an android,
It's
right?
like it wasn't coming to the front of my brain. It was like in the back.
It's like, who's that guy?
Yeah,
Who am I thinking of?
And then you just reached in, you grabbed
Yeah.
it, and then you brought it back. You brought it to the front of my
It's
mouth.
almost as if I monitored the way you think and all the things you wrote over years and years and years.
And
find
if
out
you want to do
information.
that as well, all you have to do is work at Meta and just Photoshop a bunch of dicks and shit all over that white picture, and you'll get a job there for sure.
Or at Hot Sauce Sports, because we'd love that.
Yeah, and you can we'll just.
Whatever you want.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want on his phone. His phone, you have all the data.
His phone is public.
Yeah.
And our last one for today, and now I understand why our first one was called Overture, as this one is now called Reprise.
Guys, I'm painting with a broad brush today, man. I feel good.
James Franklin, the guy from the first one who mixed up Michigan with Ohio State Buckeyes, he did it again.
Long down the road do you look at Penn State's future when it comes to the people that are ostensibly your peers in the administration?
Yeah, I think that's, again, I think that's a fair question. Obviously, we're trying to be focused on Illinois and talking about Illinois as much as we possibly can.
Long down the road do you look at
Talking
Penn
about
State's
Illinois this time.
And what did he say?
So they're playing
They're
Ohio
playing
State
Ohio.
this week.
And he said
We're trying to be
Illinois.
focused on Illinois. Here's the thing.
Maybe it's on purpose.
They just played Illinois.
That's funny.
I saw the game. I was at a bar.
CT,
I was at a bar
whatever.
watching the game. It went to 9 overtimes, Terry. 9.
And how did
He forgot he was in 9 overtimes with Illinois. He forgot. 9 overtimes.
Makes no fucking sense.
So yeah, he's very focused.
He also looks like that comedian there, Peel.
I love it. Yeah.
No, not Peel. Key.
Yeah, Keegan-Michael Key. A little bit. I knew who you were talking about.
No, but he did a whole thing with him.
Oh, he did?
He did where he came in dressed as James Franklin
That's
into
awesome.
the room, and he imitated him, and all the players. It's online. You'll find it. It's
Well, now
unbelievable.
there's so many more spoofs that can be done because he clearly doesn't know where
Oh,
he
yeah, he's
coaches,
fucked,
who he
yeah.
coaches for, what
He's
the stadiums are.
He's absolutely fucked.
That's it. That's it for today's show. That was fun.
Great.
Come on, I love the way I weaved in sort of the start and return of James Franklin into the rapid fire. I'm gonna take.
I
that
didn't read
out.
the script in advance, so
Very clearly.
Yeah.
Very clearly. Do you ever wonder when something's named something like why is it named this?
Yeah.
In the case of Overture and Reprise. Anyway, that's the show today.
just in case if you or someone you know has been a victim of sexual assault, there are a lot of organizations that are available to help. There's a bunch of resources. You can reach out to crisis centers, search online. We're not going to plug anyone specifically, but there's a lot of resources out there.
Yeah, and also in different areas, there'll be different resources. So do check out what's available in your area. Remember, in the cases of Sheldon Kennedy or in the case of the players that we've talked about throughout the show, they constantly mentioned that they thought they were alone. They felt completely isolated, alone. That is never the case. You always have someone you can talk to. So please, if you or anyone you know has been a victim, please do reach out. And thank you for everyone who's tuned in, because our show isn't always easy to take when we deal with things like this. So we do appreciate you sticking with us for some of the serious stuff, some of the laughs. If you like what we do, remember to follow us. Remember to like it. Remember to subscribe. And thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Eagle, for all that you've done. Thank you, Terry. It was awesome to be in studio with you again. I've
Love
missed
it.
you for a year, man.
Can't wait.
I've missed you
Yeah,
for a
man,
year.
it was great. We walked in, we saw each other. We're like, fuck, we haven't seen each other forever. We just gave a hug.
Well, we played golf once, which
Oh,
also
true,
wasn't
yeah.
enough.
Yeah, yeah,
also
yeah.
wasn't enough. So thank you guys for everything, but most of all, thank you all for letting me be myself. You've been listening to Hot Sauce Sports.